Hello, neighbor. You know, sometimes we hear stories that feel just a little strange. Maybe they give us goosebumps or make us double check that our doors are locked at night. Tonight, I want to share a story like that. It's a story about listening to your instincts, even when something looks innocent on the outside. This is a story about a lady named Helen, a kind woman who lived in a small, quiet neighborhood. The kind with kind dogs, green lawns, and mailboxes. She had a gray teapot, two good rocking chairs, and a very friendly tabby cat named Butter. Every night, Butter would curl up beside her while she read her mystery novels. But one rainy evening, things were different. Helen was just about to turn in for the night when she heard I knock at the door. And right then, Butter, her tabby, jumped off the couch and hissed. She'd never heard Butter hiss before. The little cat arched her back, puffed up, and bolted out of the room. You know, animals are often very good at noticing things before we do. They can sense danger, or when something's just not quite right. That's something important to remember. Sometimes the ones we love are trying to tell us something, even when they can't use words. Helen then opened the door. There stood two children, a boy and a girl, about 7 or 8 years old. Helen felt a heavy feeling in her chest. It felt like fear, but Helen thought that feeling was silly. Children aren't scary. Helen wondered why these children were out so late. She worried something must be wrong. They wore clothes that looked very old and worn out. Helen asked if she could help them. The children looked down at the floor as the girl said,
"Please, ma'am, we need to come in. Can we use your phone? Our mother will worry."
Helen still felt that heavy feeling. Actually, that heavy feeling was even stronger, and she began to feel a little bit dizzy. Sometimes, the world gives us warnings in ways that aren't always obvious. We may not understand what we're feeling because things seem okay. And when something feels off, even if it's just a tiny feeling in your heart, you don't have to explain it to anyone. You should listen to it. Helen, ever the caring woman, began to step back and let the children come in. As she did, the children looked up from the ground, and Helen could see their eyes. Black, not brown, not dark, black as ink. No whites, just cold, empty black. Helen became so very afraid. Fear she couldn't hide, although she tried. She whispered, "No, I think you should go now." But the children didn't move. They said again, this time in perfect unison,
We can't come in unless you say it's okay.
Helen quickly closed and locked the door, backed away, and the children eventually disappeared into the dark. You know, when I was young, I was taught something important. You don't open the door for strangers, especially if your gut tells you something's wrong. Being kind doesn't mean being unsafe. You can care about people and still say no. The next few days, Helen felt strange, tired, cold. She lost her appetite. Even butter wouldn't sit on her lap. Doctors couldn't find anything wrong. She slept too much, or not at all. Her skin went pale like candle wax. One day, while lying down, she heard a knock again. She knew it was those children. She felt the same heavy fear as before, and could hear butter hissing from underneath the bed. She knew the strange children made her sick, and she knew they wanted something from her. Sometimes, our strength surprises us. Sometimes, we get through things even when we're scared, even when we don't understand them. Helen did. She got better. Sometimes, on rainy nights, Helen thinks about how she feels. These children really were not children at all. They were something else, disguised as children, to trick her into letting them inside. Helen is very glad she didn't let them in, as she doesn't think she would still be here if she had. And she started to tell people what happened, even if they didn't believe her, because if it meant protecting even just one person, it was worth it. If you hear a knock at the door and see two children with black eyes, black as coal, don't let them in. Now, you might be thinking, that was a scary story, Mr. Rogers. And you might be right. It was a little scary. But remember, it's just a story. Or at least, it's supposed to be. You see, there are people, many people actually, who have claimed they've seen children just like the ones Helen met. Children with black eyes. Children who knock on doors late at night and ask to be let in. Are these stories real? Are they something paranormal? Or just misunderstandings? Or the result of tired minds and long nights? Well, I can't tell you that, neighbor. That's something you have to decide. But just in case, if you ever hear I knock at your door, when the night is dark and still, and you feel something strange in your heart, be very careful and always remember you don't have to open the door. Good night, neighbor, and remember, trust that little voice inside. It knows more than we think.